Hey there, friend. Welcome to another edition of the Premier Investments in Wealth Management Financial Program. My name's Doug Wagner, your host. Before I introduce the two gentlemen around the table with me, I need to ask you a question. See, maybe you've asked yourself this question. Am I ready for retirement? You, your spouse, your significant other, whomever you share life with, you've looked at each other and say, this is coming down the road. Are we truly ready? One way to find out, go to premieriwm.com. That's the website for Premier Investments in Wealth Management. Click Get Started once you get to the website. Answer a few questions. They'll provide for you a one-page Premier Vision document and a free meeting to follow up on it. They'll come to you. You can come to them, do it over the interwebs, however you'd like. But that's a free meeting, and it's really got some great value as well because you can see inside what makes Premier Investments in Wealth Management tick. They're not just going to sit there and recommend stocks at you. Oh, no, Nelly. They are going to work with you on your financial future, help you get ready for retirement, your kids' education. If you want to pay for some of that, maybe dream purchase you have or leaving a legacy. premieriwm.com. Click Get Started. That's how you get started. Or you can call today, 800-383-6590. That's 800-383-6590. Premier Investments in Wealth Management, named to Forbes 2026 Best in State Wealth Management Teams. To my right, Jonas Everett's wealth advisor with over 31 years of experience in the investment industry. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Doug.
How you been?
Great. Doing
Good.
great. Glad to have you here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So we have a turmeric, and what do we have today? Turmeric and what?
Ginger. I was able to score some ginger chews at, can't name the retail store.
That's fine. All good.
Anymore.
Good. And that's good because
Unless they want to give me a little endorsement, but the back office won't like that. But
he's a resident health guru. So there you go, Jonas Everett. Good to see you again. Also, Vice President and Wealth Advisor, Certified Exit Planning Advisor. That's SIPC, and the new sheriff in town. It's Elias Randall. Elias, good to see you.
Good to see you, Doug. Good to be seen.
We're in the company blue today. Good to see that.
I am a company man.
Well, it's funny because literally you and I are wearing roughly the same color, and Jonas felt kind of out of place. But I think
Molly's wearing black back there, so I thought, I'm going to step it up.
Not the first time Jonas has been the oddball of the situation.
It's true. I've been the outcast most of my life. So.
He's no. I love it. Okay, let's do this real quick. We've got a number of questions from listeners, and this is part of the fun stuff because people get these questions and they can send them in. You can do it at premieriwm.com that way. Also, there's social media if you want to send the questions in that way as well. They'll pick them up and move them from there.
Can I say something real quick,
Sure,
Doug?
Please.
I was at Bocce Ball League, and I had one of my this guy I was playing up against. He came up to me and he said, your show, you guys do a really good job with the listener questions. You do a great job with education. And then he commenced to skunk me. He really let me have it on the bocce ball court after that. But it was very nice praise by a complete stranger. So I think we're on the right track with trying to help people with these listening questions.
He was just being nice, so you let up a little bit, and he could.
It might have been a strategy.
Jonas is known as the hammer on the bocce ball court. So get the hammer up there, lay the hammer on him. That's good. Well, thank you very much for that, and tell him thank you because we enjoy doing this. I mean, it makes the whole thing is it makes it absolutely relatable. And, answering questions for people because, you know what? Jacob has the first question, but there's probably 15, 20 other people aren't now listening who are going, you know what? I was just thinking about that. He says, I'm 33. I recently learned my grandparents opened a 529 for me when I was born 33 years ago, Elias. They recently requested I take over the account, so I opened a new account at the same institution. They transfer the funds, about $85,000 to the new account. I never went to college, and I don't plan on going in the future, so I'm wondering now what I should do with the money. Any advice?
Jacob's grandparents are more generous than I would be. If I were them, I would have cashed that baby out and went to a World Cup game, I think.
And gotten a couple of tickets.
A few, yeah. All jokes aside, so Jacob has a few options, and I'll outline what in general the options are, and then we can talk about what's probably a decent approach, and most likely it's going to be a combination of a few things. So Option one is the easy one. You could leave that money in the 529 plan, keep it invested, and if some point Jacob has a family, he could designate a beneficiary. So that money could just be used as general education account for the family.
Generational.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. Okay.
So 529s, they do cover more than just college and university expenses. You can use them for private schools, kindergarten through 12th grade.
Okay.
You can also use them for apprenticeship programs.
Trades. Okay. Good. It's good to hear.
So if Jacob would like to keep that money for education expenses, if he's planning on having a family someday, it would not be a bad option. Might not be a bad option, too, to just kind of do that and wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
Another option would be there came some changes with federal rules in the last few years. I don't remember the first year people were eligible to do this, but beneficiaries of a 529 plan can transfer or convert, those words in this transaction are kind of used interchangeably, up to $35,000 from a 529 to a Roth IRA for themselves.
Okay.
So the things to be cautious of for Jacob in this situation, one, the account has to have a 15-year holding period. So if I were him, I would call wherever this money is, the back office, and see, it says 15-year clock starting over because it was transferred to a new account in his name. I wouldn't just assume that the money your grandparents invested 15 years ago qualifies. So I would check with the back office of wherever this money is to see what's the status of my 15-year clock. Assuming it's beyond that and he could do it, he could transfer up to the IRS contribution limits for someone his age. He's 33, so he could transfer $7,500 into a Roth. That would count for his annual contribution. So what you can't do is you can't move $7,500 from the 529 into the Roth and then also contribute the $7,500 of cash into the Roth. You have now over contributed. You went over the limit. So you'd have to unwind that. If he decides to just take the money out, 529s, you can take money out for unqualified expenses and you're going to pay tax on the growth. He should be able to get whatever the grandparents contributed into it. That should come out without any tax. Again, I would confirm that with the back office where it is. You want to make sure that they kept track of that. For sure, the growth would be subject to ordinary income tax and then also an additional 10% IRS penalty.
Okay.
So in the scenario where he just went and took all the money out and used it forever he wanted, it's not his money anyway, but he would have to pay some tax and penalty to do that.
Right.
So I wouldn't view it as this money's trapped forever. There are some options, and if you know the options, you might be able to come up with, I'm going to do some of this, I'm going to do some of that, and I'm going to do some of this over here too.
A little bit of this, a little bit of this.
Little
So
bit
it
of this,
sounds
little
like
bit of that.
what you could do is you could take that $7,500 and over 5 years he could well, I guess it's $85,000, but he can only do $30,000, right? 35?
35.
Yeah. So it's over
Yes.
5 years he'll be able to exhaust what he can put into that Roth IRA.
So you correct, and he would have approximately still 50,000 in the 529.
Yeah.
So again, that's something that would have to also be addressed and dealt with.
Right, exactly. But it's interesting because then that's basically, this is a windfall. It's sort of like free money. The taxes he would be paying out of that, so he could just like subtract the taxes from whatever the 50,000 the penalty.
Yeah,
Sounds like.
Jacob's grandparents were very generous and put their hard-earned money to work for him. So it's free money to him. He's not losing anything.
No, it's important because you need to work with financial professionals in order to make sure that they can help keep everything in line. What Elias said about talking to the folks in the back office is absolutely critical, but also making sure that you have a tax professional and a wealth advisor that you're working with as well, because you want to make sure that you're going in the right place, not creating unnecessary taxes, penalties, and things like that. Premier Investments in Wealth Management can help you as you're parsing your way through these things. So Just don't think 529 that's unused is trapped money, because it's not necessarily. It's nice to hear about that generational use at full operating use of it too, which is really cool. I didn't realize that, so it's good to hear that. PremierIWM.com is a website. You can make an appointment online, or you can give them a call for your personalized financial strategy. 800-383-6590 for Premier Investments and Wealth Management. Jonas, over to you for question 2. Brenda wants to know, I'm 47, contributing about 15% to my Roth 401k. I have some extra cash flow after finally paying off credit card debt. A friend recommended opening a Roth IRA. Does it ever make sense to be contributing to both a Roth 401k and a Roth IRA, or should I just increase my 401k contributions? First things first, a Roth 401k is post-tax money.
Absolutely. Absolutely, okay. Yeah. And First thing, Brenda, great job. Very good question, very intelligent question. The 15% kind of jumps out at me as that's a fantastic savings rate at age 47. That's right where you want to be. Yes, you can actually contribute. You can absolutely contribute both to a Roth 401k and a Roth IRA. One of the things that I want you to look at first, Brenda, is you said you finally paid the credit card off. So, Doug, I got a bell ringing right now, and that's called a EF bell, emergency fund bell. And this just makes me believe that I want, before I talk about any strategies, I want Brenda to make sure that she has a solid amount in the emergency fund to where she never has to tap back into that credit card ever again at age 47. Right. When somebody tells me they finally got something paid off, then I automatically think it probably took years to do that. So let's make sure that we have a solid emergency fund. And then getting back to what you've done with the Roth 401k, that's fantastic. That went in post-tax, so you actually didn't get a tax credit when you were putting these Roth 401k contributions in. However, you get to take it out tax-free for retirement. That's the same kind of tax treatment for a Roth IRA contribution, Doug. You're using your after-tax money. You're using your grocery store, your dinner money to put in an investment where you can take it out tax-free at retirement. However, the traditional Roth IRA contribution has a little bit of more, I'd say a little bit more flexibility than a Roth 401k contribution. That being said, Doug, your contributions you can take out at any time when you're making a Roth IRA contributions, regular Roth IRA contributions. So that creates a little bit of flexibility. But Brenda, to answer your question, yes, you can absolutely do both. If you start doing this, if you open up a Roth IRA contribution, and always make sure that you're receiving the company match with your current 401k, which you probably are, but just double check that. You're really reaching a point to where if you're doing this at age 47, you continue with your Roth 401k, you start the new Roth contributions, you're really reaching almost the holy grail of portfolios, Doug, where if you have most of your money that is tax-free and available, you're actually better off than people that have millions of dollars in just regular pre-tax 401k accounts. And I'll give you an example because people treat that money differently when it comes to taking it out. Okay. They're more willing to enjoy their money. So Mark Hunter and I, we worked on this strategy for some customers. They own a cabin in Gothenburg, and their daughters are married now, and they want to hang out with the in-laws over the summer. So they got tired of the in-laws sleeping on air mattresses downstairs in the basement of the cabin on concrete floors. So Mark Hunter and I developed a strategy based on them having some Roth IRA money to send them a series of monthly payments where they can build out a little apartment in the basement of their cabin in Gothenburg to where they can have the in-laws come over and be comfortable
Yeah.
over the summers. And this is what Roth IRA, this is what having Roth money does. It enables people to actually enjoy their money. Elias, how many times have you seen somebody that's done a great job and 99% of their money is pre-tax and 401ks, and they just don't feel wealthy and they don't feel like they can enjoy their money?
That happens a lot. And right now, people that are retiring right now and are retired, most of their money is in pre-tax accounts just due to the fact that Roth wasn't as widely adopted as it is now. That'll change throughout time. We will start to see, especially as a firm, bigger and bigger Roth IRA account balances. And I do think it will help. In my opinion, once we get to the point where it's common for retired people to have Roth, in my opinion, I do think it will be easier to take money out and spend due to the fact that they don't have to realize a bunch of taxes to do it. And I think that's what you're getting at, right, Jonas?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And people reach a point, and Brenda might be reaching a point to where she's maxing out her Roth 401k contributions and making just a regular Roth IRA, setting up a Roth IRA, making those contributions are going to benefit her even more. And I think she's definitely on the right track. And at some point, she's going to be able to enjoy this money.
Here's the thing. If you go to premieriwm.com, they have an investor's guide series there. Check out Rothification. Just look up the word Rothification, and they've got lots of really cool stuff on the website that you can check out. Also, you can make your appointment on the website, too, at premieriwm.com for Premier Investments and Wealth Management, named Forbes 2026 Best in State Wealth Management Team. Also, don't forget to talk to them because there's tax implications for Roth, non-Roth, and how all that stuff works, too. This is what it's important for you to have professionals on your side, including for your wealth management. These are the people that can do it. Elias, the next question's for you from Paul. I recently met with a financial advisor that my dad and uncle use. They both retired in their 50s and have done very well financially. My wife and I are in our 40s and have good jobs where we've been able to save quite a bit in our 401ks. In meeting with a financial advisor, he recommended rolling an old 401k to them to manage. I was all good with that. Then he recommended we take a 401k loan of about $30,000 to pay off some outstanding debts to lower the interest rate and get it paid off quicker. He said the loan amount stays invested and continues to grow. I always thought it was the opposite, and taking a loan took that money off the table. Who's wrong?
Well, Paul's not wrong. Typically, how a 401k loan works, the $30,000 is not going to continue to be invested. It will be removed from the account, and then you're going to pay yourself back. You're also going to pay interest to the account as you pay that back. This may have been a miscommunication, or maybe it was explained poorly to Paul. I think the statement, well, when I say statement, a statement of his 401k account balance, I'm sure the outstanding loan amount will be on there, so you will see what it is, but the money will not continue to be invested. Generally, you're going to sell investments to create the cash to then take out for the loan. So now that doesn't mean a 401k loan is never appropriate for high interest debt, but in general, I do not like this idea. I only ever recommend, well, I probably never have recommended a 401k loan.
It's a break glass kind of thing.
Yes, it's only an absolute desperate emergency situation and the last resort too.
Yeah, you really don't want to use your retirement account like a piggy bank, and you definitely don't want to use it as an investment strategy.
And it's really interesting the way, again, I think that you may very well be right that there was a miscommunication. He might have misheard something, or maybe the financial advisor missaid something, because it just, as soon as I read that, I was like, well, my spidey senses went bing, bing, bing. bell went off like you. It's like,
in general, I do agree. Your high interest debt, you do need to get that paid off, and maybe the person he's working with just so strongly believes in getting that debt paid off that they would recommend doing this. Do I view high interest debt as a bad thing for someone's financial picture? I do. I don't view that as an emergency fund, so that's not something where I'm going to break the glass and pull the fire alarm and take a 401k loan to pay off debt. I'm going to hunker down and have some discipline about my money and get the debt paid off.
And I don't have my 401k loan cheat sheet, but if he loses his job, doesn't he have to pay that back? And very recent?
Yes. Yeah, you have to pay it back. It could also... Yeah, you would have to pay it back, and then it's going to reflect as a distribution depending on how you do it.
On his taxes, right?
Right. So if you don't get it paid back, they're going to essentially make you pay it, and then it's going to be a distribution. So it could also cost you an extra 10% IRS penalty. So 401k loans are not it's just not a path that I like to go down with people.
So this is kind of a risk that he's taking on, similar to maybe having a mortgage in retirement, that we don't like people to take on additional risks if they don't have to.
I think this is unnecessary risk.
Gotcha.
I think you got to get your budget. You got to have some discipline and just get the debt paid off outside of the 401k loan.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too, is that if you've got a financial professional like this, in this case, somebody who's worked with your family, Paul, it doesn't hurt to kick the tires. Maybe you find another financial professional and you ask them, get a second opinion. It's kind of like if you got a second opinion for your auto mechanic, for your doctor, for something like that. It's never a bad idea to have a second opinion on something like this, too, and have them explain why. Premier Investments in Wealth Management will do that. They'd be happy to have a conversation with you. Go to premieriwm.com. You can put a question in there. You can even make an appointment online, or you can call 800-383-6590. Premier Investments in Wealth Management, named a Forbes 2026 Best in State Wealth Management Team. I'm going to come to you first, and then Jonas with this question here real quick. Actually, Jonas, I'm going to come to you first. Josh wants to know, have you worked with anyone who retired early using the FIRE method? My wife and I have been following it since we were 22. We're all now almost 30. We're starting to second guess things as we watch all of our friends traveling and enjoying life while we're debating if a once-a-month fast food meal fits in our ultra-frugal budget. My friend made a comment that everyone we know who were successful with FIRE are now making money from books, classes, and their social media followings, talking about how they retired in their 30s. So they really didn't retire as much as they made it a career shift. I'm wondering if you've seen any average people be successful with FIRE, and if the years of sacrifice were really worth it. And I'm going to throw an extra one in for you guys. You know of anybody who's been able to make the haul on social media or writing books or doing podcasts based on this?
Well, it's called Financial Independence, Retire Early, and it's based on a book by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez called Your Money or Your Life. And this is a classic financial book. I love this financial strategy. I don't know anybody that's doing it, but any time people get excited about financial planning, I love it. I would recommend that Josh reads the book instead of looking at what his friends are doing. I really love this strategy, Doug, because the worst thing that can happen, if people live frugally and they save a bunch of money up and they invest a bunch of money at an early age, the worst thing that can happen is what Josh actually said. They just go back to work eventually. And I had this happen. I was working with a bunch of grocery store managers that were receiving profit sharing, and they were able to retire at 50 and 51 years old. Big group of them went down to Florida. They retired down to Florida. Well, you get bored of that after 2 to 3 years. They're all back working part-time at the grocery store. I'm saying hi to them like they never left.
Yeah.
So they worked 40 years at the grocery store. They retired in their 50s, went and retired for only 2 to 3 years, got bored with that. So I think that we're talking about a lifestyle and stimulating our brains here. We're talking about a financial strategy that really works, but it's based on that book. And then if you just take some time to read this book, but really most early retirement isn't, built on entirely being extremely frugal. It's about raising your income, controlling your costs, and having realistic expectations. If you love your job, ultimately, there's really no reason to retire. So every situation is different. If you do want to flat out retire early in your 50s, you're going to have another 40, 50 years of life expectancy. You're going to have health insurance bills each and every month. I'm not even going to tell you how much the Everett spend on healthcare each month, but we're used to it by now. You're going to have taxes, and you're going to have an unpredictable market too. One of the things I don't like about the financial independence retire early strategy is a lot of these people have 100% of their money in the S&P 500, and they're taking a monthly income from that. That, to me, would make me a little bit nervous. But I do like when people get excited from a financial strategy like this, because it gets them thinking more about their financial future.
Before I go to Elias, another quick question for you is this: the idea of the FOMO, the fear of missing out, that they see their other people. How do you work with clients in order to balance that so that they could do something that's fairly aggressive if they want to, but at the same time they don't have that FOMO?
Absolutely. I just tell them you don't need to make money in every game. You don't need to make money in every game. If this is a strategy that is working for your friends and it doesn't fit your lifestyle, it doesn't fit your beliefs, maybe you want to take some vacations. Every situation is different. That's why doing this vision board, this vision document is important for people, because one spouse may like their job, and ultimately some people can only handle 2 or 3 weeks of vacation together each year, let alone 2 or 3, 4 weeks together each month. So everybody's different. There's a lot of people who just like to stay busy and work whether they have to or not. So that's why we do this vision board. But to answer your question, Doug, I just tell my customers, hey, you don't need to make money in every game.
Right. Elias, talk to me. Jonas said the vision board, but there's other ways of doing this, other tools. How do you work with clients? How do you think Josh and his wife may be able to determine whether they need to or should be continuing with their extreme frugality, or maybe just give themselves permission to use more of their money right now?
A good starting place for Josh's family would be to quantify, with what you're doing today, at what age will you be financially independent? I think the reason they're second guessing is the level of sacrifice they're making at this point makes going to the fast food restaurant feel like a failure. Yeah. I mean, that's too extreme. If you're to the point where just going to spend a little bit of money makes you feel like you're failing yourself, I think we've also entered into an unhealthy approach to our money. So I understand why they're feeling this way. So for them, I think a little bit of vision, some more conversations around at what age would we like to be financially independent? Because if the answer is, some of the FIRE movement people set out to be financially independent by 35 or 40 years old. There's a couple major hurdles with that. One, can you even save enough money to hit financial independence by that age? Right? Because we're shortening the length of time that we're allowing compounding growth to help us. And then you're going to start taking money out. Let's just say 40 years old and you live till 90. You have to live off that money for 50 years. Which is a challenge in itself. I think they're looking for a little bit more balance. Mm-hmm. And here's the good news. Even if they decide, maybe being retired at 40 isn't really what we want to seek to do anymore, they've probably done such a good job at such a young age that 50, 55 is probably realistic. Maybe they're working in careers where they have to work a lot right now and make more money. and maybe they could work part-time and still accomplish some goals. So I think they will find the balance. For me, FIRE, I'm with Jonas. I love when people get excited about financial strategies, but I would never personally live my life the way it would take to accomplish the financial independence, retire early goals.
And one of the things that Vicki Robbins set out to do in the book, Your Money or Your Life, is just tell people they have to have different sources of income at retirement at all times. So she actually sublets out her basement in her house in Washington. So here's this multimillionaire, and she has somebody living in her basement, and I don't know how much she collects for rent. So that's probably why Josh's friends are on social media trying to earn an extra paycheck. Is Vicki Robbins said that you wanna focus on different sources of income, and I love that idea. If young people just focus on, hey, I'm going to have 3 to 4 or 5 sources of income when I retire, you're on the right track. You're definitely on the right track, because I know multiple people that have some money in the stock market, but they have 4 or 5 different sources of income.
And this is where, go ahead.
Sorry.
You were going to say something.
So these two, they are setting themselves up to have financial flexibility.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's for me, that's a bigger takeaway from FIRE. It's very hard to actually accomplish the goals of it. Doing those things, though, you will have more flexibility in your life, which is a level of financial independence.
Yeah. It's kind of like a weight loss goal, right? You want to get down to 200 pounds, and you're at over 200 right now, and you lose 20 pounds, but you're not down to 200. You still feel better. You're better off overall.
Right. Yeah, so don't beat yourself up over...
Absolutely.
Don't beat yourself up over, okay, I still have a few steps to accomplish.
Don't beat yourself up over that ice cream or the popcorn with butter on it, the big tub, and a full-size pole
if you're going to watch a movie.
About that. We're not going to go there.
It's okay to have a few chicken wings and a large glass of beer once in a while. You'll be okay.
There you go. That's good. Hey, this is the kind of stuff that when you sit down with my friends at Premier Investments and Wealth Management, it's common sense. But it's common sense that you may not have heard. But the other thing, too, is that maybe you've heard it, but you heard it from somebody in the periphery. These people are helping you because they are invested in your future and your wealth management. So please do get in touch with them. Premier Investments and Wealth Management named to Forbes 2026 Best in State Wealth Management Teams. Available at premieriwm.com. Just click Get Started, answer a few questions. They'll provide for you a one-page Premier Vision document and a meeting to go over the roadmap for your financial future. PremierIWM.com or call to make your appointment today, 800-383-6590. Jonas, question for you from Nancy. She says, I'm in my 70s. I recently inherited about $350,000 from my sister. I don't need the money. I'd like to pass it on to my children. Is there any issue with splitting it up and giving it to them now, or should I keep it invested and name them as beneficiaries for when I pass?
Nancy, great question. You can give the money to your children now, but there are tax, estate planning, and maybe some long-term care considerations that you have to review first. Inherited money has a lot of heartstrings attached to it, Doug, and a lot of people feel like it's a burden to receive in inheritance when they don't need it, and they just want to give it up. They just want to give it up right away. Casey and I are helping a customer that received a substantial inheritance, and she said, guys, I wish it was $500, and I don't wish it was this amount. And we just have to remind our customers that your deceased loved ones wanted you to have the money, and it has to be some part of your financial picture. I like the strategy to where you don't have to do a lot of financial planning, Nancy, to where you just use the simple gifting tools that are available right now. I had one customer, Doug, they actually won the lottery.
Right.
And they didn't need the money. And they were able to set a gifting tool up to their kids and their grandkids. And they did this on Christmas Eve. They were able to give them $19,000 each year. And there was enough money for them that was held back in their accounts if they needed long-term care, if they just needed a repair around the house. They weren't giving all their money away right away. And I would like you to consider that, Nancy. Maybe you earmark a special occasion each year where you start gifting your kids $19,000. However, we don't know about this $350,000. If it's an inherited IRA, that's going to trigger a lot of taxes. Nancy's going to probably, the rules state that she's going to have to deplete this over a 10-year period of time and pay the taxes anyway. So I would like for this to be a part of her financial picture. Even if she's done great financially, just take into consideration, Nancy, your own health care and your own long-term care needs. Nancy, if you're married, you can actually give up to that $38,000 a year, $19,000 per spouse. But also have this inheritance be a big part of your financial future, because things change in life, right, Doug?
Yeah, even in your 70s.
Like today's weather, I don't know when this is going to air, but it's not a sunny day. It's not a balmy day. It was more like a hurricane out there today.
It was a big thunderstorm after a long period of dryness. It's important to understand that what Jonas is saying is that even in your 70s, a financial plan and getting that financial plan is important, because maybe you don't have one. Maybe you've been able to make it through to your 70s without one. It's still a good time to get in touch with Premier Investments in Wealth Management to get that financial plan, 800-383-6590 or at premieriwm.com. Elias, Greg wants to know, I'm turning 62 soon and my old company pension payout will be starting. I got a letter with options for a $150,000 lump sum or $920 a month. I'm trying to decide what the right choice is. I'm still working and don't plan on retiring until closer to 70. I have a 401k at my current employer and will also get Social Security when I retire. I have no debt. So, should I take the lump sum and invest it, or just take the monthly check for the rest of my life?
There is not one universally correct answer for this scenario, and the pension question of should I take the monthly income or should I do what's called a lump sum rollover and send it to my IRA is a very common question that we get asked all the time. So I'm going to break it out into two different areas. So if you take the monthly income, that will provide a predictable lifetime income stream, right? For you and a spouse, depending on how they let you set it up. So there's a lot to be said for that I know the $920 some that's coming every month. When you consolidate the pension value into an IRA, you've now opened up investment flexibility. You can keep that money for your heirs if you would like to. And so you have a little bit more control of that particular asset. You have a little more control. So let's start by just confirming a couple of things, because I know people a lot of times ask, well, what's the break even on this decision? So this particular one, at $920 every month, it would take 13 and a half years to take out the $150,000 of value.
Right.
And so that's just return of the actual value, right? That doesn't account for any investment returns or any investment returns or flexibility beyond that. So the pension monthly income typically is attractive to people who expect to live a long time, and if they value the monthly income more than the lump sum value. And for me, in my opinion, that's what it comes down to. Is it's really a question of, do you want control of the asset or do you want the monthly income? And I would let everyone know that situationally, sometimes people need to have the guaranteed income coming in for it to work out in their situation. Mm-hmm. The flip side of that, people who have done a good job saving. So the majority of our clients, people that have done a good job saving and have are financially independent, which is different for everyone. Some people can be financially independent with $300,000. Some people need $3 million to be financially independent or more. Just depends on their lifestyle and what they spend. But for a lot of people, $920 per month isn't going to move the needle as far as their income strategy and being successful in retirement. So if typically what I see is when people don't need the monthly income, they do opt for the lump sum. But that doesn't mean that taking the monthly income is a bad decision. And certainly if it's the difference between working or not working, I might really lean towards taking that. And I think one of Greg's questions was about, it doesn't sound like he needs it. So if he doesn't need the monthly income, if you're going to take the money and invest it, I wouldn't take it $920 at a time.
Yeah.
I just take the $150,000 and go invest it.
Gotcha.
I'm sure you'll do better over time.
And really a couple of pitfalls with the lifetime income is if Greg is married, he elects what we call an I love you option, like Elias said, it's going to be a lower monthly paycheck than $920 because he's going to want to guarantee that his spouse gets a lifetime income if he predeceases her. So again, back to the simple financial planning of doing a family tree. What's the life expectancy here? Once you do elect that lifetime income, that pension, you're disinheriting the kids right away because there's no lump sum to leave the kids. It's just you and your spouse. So ultimately, like Elias said, a lifetime income is for people that have done a poor job on their own, saving their own money. And generally, in a general rule, a lump sum is for people that have done a nicer or a better job saving money.
Yeah, this is something where having a trusted financial advisor to work with is really critical, whether it's Jonas, Elias, or one of the other folks here at Premier Investments and Wealth Management. It's not only them, but it's also this Monte Carlo simulation, these strategies that they go through to put together thousands of different simulations to give you outputs that give you an idea of where you set and how the percentage of success that you're going to have in retiring the way that you want to, comfortably, no matter what it is. Go to premieriwm.com and make your meeting happen by clicking up there, and you can have that taken care of very quickly, or call 800-383-6590 for Premier Investments in Wealth Management, named Forbes 2026 Best in State Wealth Management Team. A couple more questions, Jonas. The next one to you. Brett wants to know, my daughter's almost 5, and over the past few years, through birthdays and Christmases, has accumulated a nice collection of piggy banks. So far, we've filled up 8. My initial thought was to save them all until she turned 18, then let her open them all at once. But with the way inflation has been, I've been thinking starting a college fund or investing the money some other way would be better for her in the long run. I'd love a bit of guidance here, Jonas.
Yeah, I love the idea of saving one piggy bank, Brett, and having her open that up at age 18. But you're actually on the right track with cash right now. Cash is not paying anything. It's paying zero. So if you look at liquid CDs now, they're paying about 3.3%. Bonds usually pay a dividend yield, and the stock market is going to ultimately, maybe over time, going to keep up with inflation, but you don't know what it's going to do on a short-term basis. So this is a great opportunity to what I call, this is a financial milestone at age 5, Doug. If you start by opening up these piggy banks and have your daughter included with this process, maybe you start teaching her a little bit about money and saving for her financial future. Maybe you take her to the bank and you open up a savings account with maybe a little bit of the money. If you want some of this money to go to college, obviously we've talked in depth about the benefits of 529 plans. Right. That's the emphasis of people, that's what they use if the emphasis is college. If you're not quite sure if college is going to be in the future in 13 years, you can open up an account in her name where she owns it and she takes control of it at age 18. You can invest the money in one of your accounts and just have it earmarked for your dollar. But ultimately, we like to see people treat this as a financial lesson, kind of a opportunity to open things up together for their young kids and kind of teach a little bit of a financial, maybe the first money lesson that Brett could teach his daughter at this point, and keep one of the piggy banks back for keepsake purposes. And this is a great. This is probably going to be Brett's first financial lesson. I saw a friend on the golf course, and we talked about our kids are financially savvy because they don't have to pay rent right now. They're living in our basements, right? So he said, well, my 21-year-old, and my kids have jobs too, my 21-year-old has a full-time job, so I'm charging him $400 a month. And then I told him once he gets on his feet, I'm going to give him all this money back as a down payment for his first place. Oh, okay. And then I thought that was a really neat financial strategy because he said that he's just teaching his kids how to make those bill payments that they're going to have to get used to when they're a financial adult, when they're an adult. So at age 5, it's a lot easier. Just enjoy this stuff at age 5, Brett.
A little bit more of a simple kind of lesson, I think, at that point. But still, don't think that your children aren't interested in finding out things like that, because that's one of those things where even today you have a lot of children who are going to be very competitive, and they're going to find out, hey, I can take this $1 and I can turn it into $1.10 or $1.50. Lemonade stands. Casey here with his kids and lemonade stands, that makes sense. So having a good focus on that's not a bad thing for a family to do. Question number 8 is for both of you, and I'm going to go to Jonas to start off with this one. Tiana asks, my husband and I have 3 kids, ages 4, 2, and 6 months. We've been very fortunate to have my mother-in-law provide free child care for us the last 4 years, but due to some recent health issues, she's no longer able to help out. We've been looking into daycare, and the cost for all 3 kids is going to be about 95% of my current income after taxes and my 401k contributions. My husband thinks the best option is for me to stay at home, but the more I think about it, I worry that giving up my contributing to my 401k will hurt us in the long run. Is it worth keeping my job just to keep contributing to my 401k, or am I overthinking this? This is a very personal kind of question, Jonas. There's a lot of, not just the money things, but there's like familial relationships, kids, all sorts of stuff going into this.
Absolutely, Tiana. You're definitely not overthinking this at all. This decision is more about just thinking about a paycheck. You have your long-term career potential. You have your personal value of continuing to work versus the cost of childcare. There's the simple math that you do. You compare the cost of childcare to what you're contributing to the 401k, what you're getting in a 401k match, what they're paying for your health insurance, if your husband is carrying the health insurance, if you're carrying the health insurance, any other workplace benefits. You kind of subtract the cost for going to work each day, and any type of child care credits that you can get. Doug, you want to factor those into the equation. But we happen in our family to where we decided way back when, 20 years ago, that it just wasn't worth it for Jody. My wife had a great job for the county, and it just wasn't worth it emotionally for her to go back to work. Not only that, it really wasn't even worth it financially for her to go back to work because there was a lot of time involved. One strategy that we had in place as a young family is things might open up for you, Tiana, when your kids are going to school full time. Mm-hmm. When they reach that age in first grade, things might open up for you. So if you do want to stay at home now, keep all your contacts open at work. Don't burn any bridges. Continue to get any continued education that you get. Investment in yourself is always the best investment, even if you're working or not working. So depending on what Tiana does for a living, she can continue to hold on to all those ties, not burn any bridges. And when her kids start first grade, she might have the opportunity to slide into another position.
Yeah. Well, I want to touch on that. So that's something to think about, is whether it's a temporary break in employment or a more permanent decision. If this is going to be temporary and Tiana really enjoys her career and likes to work, there's no guarantee that she could leave this industry or whatever field she's working in now and then come back in the future, which is absolutely something to consider. And this is a tough decision, especially both family members are working right now. And how many of us drive a lot of value in ourselves from our career? That's a pretty important thing. It's part of our identity. It's part of how we value ourselves. So I think it goes a little bit beyond the numbers. I hope they're doing a good job and they can still be on track with whatever decision it is that they make. But I also want to go into it thinking, oh, I'll take 6 months, so we'll call it 5 or 6 year break. And then your youngest one's going to kindergarten or first grade. I wouldn't take for granted that you can just come back to an employer or come back to an industry after a longer sustained break. You might essentially be starting over.
Might have changed complexion quite a bit.
Yeah, you might just have to go find a totally different job too.
It sounds like almost part of what you're saying, Elias, is that this is something where it's not only the financial portion of it, the wealth, counseling and management that you do, but also maybe some personal counseling. It may not be a bad idea for them to there's a holistic view of this. What is the value of my job determined for my worth as opposed to being a parent? Can one supplant the other? How much, more? Because it's not just about the money. It's about your own spiritual, mental well-being and emotional well-being as well. You have a lot of people that can get taxed by that. Elias, did you have a final note on that, or we're good to go?
We are good to go.
Fabulous. This is perfect. Perfect way to end it, because we're talking about financial plans. We're talking about emergency funds. We're talking about making sure your family's got some stability when it comes to what can be a really chaotic world. Premier Investments and Wealth Management website is premieriwm.com. They even have downloadable assets down there that you can take a look at that talk about a chaotic world that we live in and how you can prepare for it. premieriwm.com. The one-page Premier Vision document begins by clicking Get Started. Answer a few questions. They'll give you a free meeting. They'll come to you. You can go to them, or they'll do it over the internet any way you want. But it starts out at premieriwm.com. They'll hand you that one-page Premier Vision document. Or if you just want to skip all that and say, you know what, you got me, I'm gonna make the appointment. Call right now. You can call right now. If they're not open, leave a message. 800-383-6590. Make your appointment today with Premier Investments and Wealth Management, named to Forbes 2026 Best in State Wealth Management Teams. For Elias Randall, for Jonas Everett, my name is Doug Wagner. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Premier Investments and Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide specific individualized tax or legal advice. We suggest that you discuss your specific situation with a qualified tax or legal advisor. Rebalancing a portfolio may cause investors to incur tax liabilities and or transaction costs, and does not assure a profit or protect against loss. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal. There is no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. Dollar cost averaging involves continuous investment in securities, regardless of fluctuations in price levels. Investors should consider their ability to continue purchasing through periods of low price levels. Such a plan does not assure a profit and does not protect against loss in declining markets. Contributions to a traditional IRA may be tax deductible in the contribution year, with current income tax due at withdrawal. Withdrawals prior to age 59.5 may result in a 10% IRS penalty tax in addition to current income tax. A Roth IRA offers tax deferral on any earnings in the account. Qualified withdrawals of earnings from the account are tax-free. Withdrawals of earnings prior to age 59.5 or prior to the account being open for 5 years, whichever is later, may result in a 10% IRS penalty tax. Limitations and restrictions may apply. A plan participant leaving an employer typically has 4 options and may engage in a combination of these options, each choice offering advantages and disadvantages. Those options include leave the money in their former employer's plan if permitted, roll over the assets to their new employer's plan if one is available, and rollovers are permitted, roll over to an IRA, or cash out the account value. Prior to investing in a 529 plan, investors should consider whether the investor's or designated beneficiary's home state offers any state tax or other state benefits such as financial aid, scholarship funds, and protection from creditors that are only available for investments in such state's qualified tuition program. Withdrawals used for qualified expenses are federally tax-free. Tax treatment at the state level may vary. Please consult with your tax advisor before investing. Forbes' Best in State Wealth Management Team's ranking was developed by Shook Research and is based on in-person, virtual, and telephone due diligence meetings and a ranking algorithm that includes a measure of each team's best practices, client retention, industry experience, review of compliance records, firm nominations, and quantitative criteria, including assets under management and revenue generated for their firm. Investment performance is not a criterion because client objectives and risk tolerances vary, and advisors rarely have audited performance reports. Shook's research and rankings provide opinions intended to help investors choose the right financial advisor and team, and are not indicative of future performance or representative of any one client's experience. Past performance is not an indication of future results. Neither Forbes nor Shook Research receive compensation in exchange for placement on the ranking. For more information, please see www.shookresearch.com. Shook is a registered trademark of Shook Research, LLC.